Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new series I'm going to be doing called Regional Report, and it's exactly what it sounds like. I'm just going to report on how my regionals went, and this is my first regional of the season. I played in Lansing, Michigan, with the deck you see before you, and I did not do great. I went 4-4, which isn't awful, but it's not like good either. I did way worse than I was expecting. I honestly was thinking I was going to get top 8 because I've had so much success with this deck lately, but I didn't even think I definitely overestimated myself in that I had not played this deck at a higher level event, or I had not played this deck at a higher level event post Chaos Origins, and I have been making some deck building mistakes, and that was the biggest thing I learned, is that most 3 out of the 4 games I lost were because of deck building choices I made that I will go into for this video, which is good for you guys, because it means you guys get to see what the actual problems were in deck building, and it's not just, oh, I played bad, and this is why I lost. There was one match I played bad, and it was my last match of the day, and it's because I was really tired. But before I get into what I want to change about the deck, I will tell you guys about what decks I played against. My round 1 was against Invoked. My round 2 was against Sky Striker. My round 3 was against Mitsurugi. My round 4 was against Cool Tune, which was my first loss of the day. My round 5 was against Branded. My round 6 was against Cool Tune, which I also lost. My round 7 was against Branded, which I lost. My round 8 was against Elfno, which I lost. So the big issue that I was having all day that was making me lose matches was I am on way too many one-ups. I'm on so many one-ups, and I didn't realize it until after the 2 Cool Tune matches, which I lost, going second because I would draw these really mediocre one-ups. The cards I'm talking about are Vidolia, the Patron Trap card, the Theorealized Paslol, Finmel, Assault, and Recapture. All of these cards are bad to draw, and I am playing 6 of them. Too much. I'm not counting the non-engine because I'm playing the one of non-engine because I think it's good to draw, obviously, if it's non-engine. These cards were awful. Now, I can't cut all of these, but I can cut half of them. I do not need to be playing the Patron Trap card. I do not need to be playing Pass Lull or any Theorized spell, in my opinion, for that matter. I did not have the link to Patron come up, I think, a single time all day. Maybe one time. Maybe I had it come up one time, but I don't think it was like game winning or anything. If I do play a Theorized spell, it's going to be going back to the original, because there were multiple times during the day where I couldn't play the game because I drew past, or I had pass law with no way to access a like one of the things to turn it on. Which is exactly what I was afraid of when I started playing this card. But the issue is, the OG Theorized I don't think would have helped me in any situation I drew past Soul either, because every time I had Theorized, or every time I had this, it was like the last thing I had, and Theorized has to shuffle back a monster, so it's still really bad on card advantage, and in general, it just, like, still I don't think would have felt good to have at all. And then the last card is Finmel, who was fine. I made her, I think, once during the day. And I think this is the only one that I could debate. And the reason I could debate it is that Finmel is like a much better draw than these other 2 cards. It's kind of an upstart goblin if you can set it up. And setting it up isn't too difficult. It's just get Nervado, get Assault, or get Non-Finito on board, which is not hard. Speaking of which, this can make Non-Finito, so this is kind of a starter, although a weak one. It's not bad. There is a world you keep this card in. I think this is the best of the one of bricks of these 3 that I'm playing. So I don't know. There's an argument, and I am going to throw her into the side over the Theorized Overdrive, a card that I also never used. I cited it in a good few times because the concept with this card. So this is different than the list I put in the update video, which hopefully is up when you're watching this, if you're watching it within like a week or so. The idea with this card is that it was another thing I could do into Fualos. So like if I had Medius, I had a patron, I had access to a patron, so the link to is live, I could link into the link to, search Overdrive, set Overdrive pass, and it's basically the same thing as setting Pact Awakening and passing, right? And it's really good if I like make Non-Finito and it gets imperm, so it's really good into like the second hand trap to pair with the Fualos, but it never came up. As I said, the link to barely came up all day. So this can definitely be cut for sure. And I would definitely keep playing the Finmel, the Non-Finito, and the Pact Awakening in the side because these came up a lot. Post side, the Archmage, Non-Finito, Pact Awakening stuff was incredible. There were games where even if I didn't set Pact Awakening on my turn 1, I would go Non-Finito fuse with Nervado to make a second Non-Finito, then trigger Nervado, summon another Pendulum from my deck, and then use Non-Finito to set the Pact Awakening. Then when I used Varudros later in the turn, I could use Varudros's pop effect to pop the Pact Awakening, putting it in a grave to bounce the Non-Finito and pop a card, which is insane. It gets even better because the Non-Finito doesn't need to fuse itself off if I'm making the Vortex Dragon, because I can use the Pendulum I summoned off Nervado and the Override on my field. So this like setup combo felt insane all day. Like there's a world even though I know I am talking about cutting 1-ups and it's why I'm not going to main this, at least for right now, there is a world I main Pact Awakening because it felt so amazing all day. This card was incredible. These two were probably the best cards in my side deck all day. Shade, I didn't talk about Shade. This card's really good, and I think I am going to probably side it, because I think it is still a really, really, really powerful card going first, and it's so easy to set up. You just basically get this card for free in most of your combos. It's not hard to leave yourself a search. The only way you're not getting to this is if your opponent hits you with, like, 2 hand traps, you might not get to this card. But if they hit you with 2 hand traps, they've hand looped themselves for 2, so it probably doesn't matter. But this card is insane. Like, I think this card is worth being in the list in some regard, but it is a bad draw, and so I don't really want to worry about having this card in game 1 ever, so I am going to go ahead and put it in the side as well. I'm cutting the one of Patron spell that I think I could have came up one time. I used it against Cool Tune and they negated it, and it's like, okay, it's like fine. Then I guess I will, and then the Pass Lull is just being cut from the list entirely, and because I'm cutting Pass Lull, I'm also going to cut the Link to. I don't know if I like this because the Link to still has utility in that regard, but admittedly, the only utility this has over like an IP Masquerena is that it's a Patron. That's really it. If I'm not going to play a Theorealize spell, the only thing that matters with this card is that it is a Patron in name, so you can reborn it with Vidolium. You can, and importantly, if you're playing the Trap card, you can reborn the Purification with the Trap card. None of those plays ever came up, so I think I am okay to cut this card. I have been a big proponent of not cutting this card in the past, but I was wrong. I'll admit it right now. I think I was wrong about this card. Until we get the new support and we have a good Theorealize spell to search, or a good Theorealize card to search off of this, as in the Theorealize Medius, which is just unbelievable. I just don't think this card makes the cut, just due to card quality. You need your hands to be so high quality this format to win going second. Going second right now, I did not realize how hard going second is this format, and you'll see that in the non-engine changes I'm also going to make as well. But yes, we are cutting Purification. I'm not sure what I'm going to replace it with yet. I've got some ideas, and I'll talk about them when we get more into the extra deck. Then on to the actually, no, I have one other engine change I want to make to the main deck. And I am going to talk about the 1-ups I'm keeping and why I'm keeping them, because obviously I'd want to cut them if I can. Vidolia is too important. This card is the only other Patron spell you can search besides Terminus, which does matter a lot. If you start with Terminus, you draw Terminus, you want to have a second thing to search with Chapredo, otherwise this card is just useless, which sucks. And the attack lowering effect is super important for going for OTKs, especially into time when you're locked under Terminus. It didn't happen this regional, but in the last regional I played with Valance Power Patron, there were a ton of games where I was really close to time, and my only way to win was get Vidolium with the 5k attack boost, and then plop them on the board with Vidolia on board, make all their guys lose 1,000,000 attack because I banished everything out of the grave, and then swing for 10k. That does come up, and even then, the attack lower on this thing is really important anyway. Against Invoked, I was able to steal their Caliga from the grave with the Hark, and it was the only way I had to stop them. I had no other interactions on my board because I'd use the rest of my cards to push through their board, and Vidolia was the card that kept me in the game, because otherwise he could have just gone make any fusion and then swing over the Caliga, but this card was making his monsters lose like 1700 attack or something, and when he used his invoked fusion spell, he would banish more cards, causing him to put more cards in the banish, making his guys lose more and more attack. What ended up happening is his one card that could get big enough to out the board was the invoked Aeon, but he used Invocation to banish 2, and that put it just under the amount that it needed to run over the Caliga. That game was wild, by the way. Shout out to that game. The Vidolia was crazy in that game. But yes, this card's super important. I would argue it's the most important, maybe the most important one of in the deck. It's really good. Assault. Also, this card is like a 1.5 card starter. It's a bad starter, and admittedly, my games where I lost going second, I think I drew this card like every time. It was really frustrating. This card does suck to draw. Don't get me wrong, but you do have to play it. Unfortunately, it is mandatory. Then we're on the one assault. Assault is actually the best one of in the deck in terms of drawing it, just because it's just Medius. You just activate it, search Medius, boom, you're good. And Medius is great. Medius is a really, really good card. So I'm totally fine playing this. And you need, so the reason you play this, if you don't know, is that it makes Non-Finito a starter. Therefore, it makes Nervado a starter. So if you draw Nervado with any spell trap, it gets you full combo with Assault. And that came up a lot. Also, going second, it makes Nervado a way better push, because going second, setting recapture isn't great off of Non-Finito, because usually what they'll do is they'll just like pop the Non-Finito. What's also good is that because normally what I do post side is I board out of recapture, because I don't want to draw it when I go second. But my opponents don't know that, right? So if they saw recapture in game 1, or they know what recapture exists, they'll play around it by popping Non-Finito when I use its effect, so that I can't negate a monster effect, which is great, because I basically get to eat an interaction for almost nothing, because I don't care that much about the body, and then I get Assault, which is full combo from there, which didn't get popped, right? So really, really good. Assault's actually phenomenal. This card's really, really strong. And the Recapture, I hate this card so much. It's the worst card in the deck to draw, but you have to play it. It insulates your combos really well. This is like, it's so good for playing around hand traps. It just makes your opponent have to play so many things prematurely in a way that just isn't good for them. You do have to play this card. I don't want to. It's also good for the end board as well. Using this to like banish the Vortex until the end phase is really strong. You know, this card's crazy. After that, the only other change I'd make to the engine is Shade the Obscure. This card was terrible to draw going second. It's still a really good card going first. It's still a powerful engine card. It is still a card I think you have to play at least one, because you do want like the third thing to search off of Terminus. But this card was awful. I think my going second hands were genuinely miserable throughout the day. It consisted of a lot of Shade, it consisted of a lot of Vidolia, and it consisted of a lot of Theorized Pass Lull, and a lot of duplicates. I think there was a game I drew double Pen Treasure, double Impulse, and like Medius or Shade or something. It was really bad. But this card I think I have to cut down. I don't want to, because I like it, and I like having a ton of starters in the deck. But this card is just such a bad extender going second. It can't summon itself unless you already have something else on the board. It is an ignition effect. That's the biggest issue. Because it's an ignition effect, all they have to do is when you summon this, they just pop it and you lose, right? It's awful into Fallen and the Virtuous, awful into Rico, or not Rico, Mix. This card's just so rough. It's crazy going first, though, is the thing. Like, it is a phenomenal extender going first, but it is really, really bad going second. For now, I'm going to cut it to 2. There is a world I cut this card down to 1, because it really is that bad to draw going second. But I think that's all the changes I make to the engine for now. Maybe we'll change other things. But my biggest lesson learned this event was I cannot play a ton of 1-ofs. I need to try and keep the list down on 1-ofs. I know this. I think I got lost in the sauce. There were too many good cards you could search that were good in theory, but if you draw them, they're just bad. And I think I got lost in like combos, which happens, you know. I think a lot of people make the mistake, especially when they're building combo decks, that they put in a lot of cards that like they are just not going to be able to use super effectively, or super effectively if they draw them, which I think is a very easy thing to do when you're trying to build for combo decks. Is just put in a lot of cards that aren't good in actual application, but good in theory. Next to the non-engine that was good was Called by, Talons, Crown, Ash, and Impulse. I liked all these cards. Ash wasn't amazing all day, but like I am worried. I don't know. The only reason I'd cut this is if I do main deck the Pact Awakening Finmel line. If I main deck both of these cards, which would go against what I said about wanting to cut down on one-ofs, I think I could justify cutting Ash because I do think the deck becomes good enough into Fua at that point that you can do it. Because that's the issue, is that this deck's really bad in a Fua, but if you are playing that Archmage line, I think it gives the deck enough gas into Fua that you are probably okay to cut this card in favor of stronger non-engine. Um, which I might try. Something I'm thinking about is putting in the full Dominus suite. I would have to pick up Sparks, but it does give you like a really powerful set of non-engine. But if I do that, I don't want to play a list with conflictions. I don't want to play other like monster hand traps. I'm not going to main Fua. I'm not maining Ash. If I do that, I'm going all in on it. I'm playing those and I'm playing like breakers like Crown, right? So we might do that. I at least want to try it for sure. But Ash is not good going second, but it is, I think, a card you have to play unless you main deck this setup. And I think if we do that, we are going to have to main deck this line. Then the non-engine that was really bad, Fenrir and the Bestials. These cards just didn't do enough. I think I underestimated again how hard it is to go second right now. Because I've been doing really well going second with this deck lately, but man, these cards were just not good enough. And I think my appreciation for small little synergies kind of clouded my judgment on whether or not these cards are actually good. My brain was like, oh, I can go Fenrir, search Fenrir, pen Fenrir, make absolute, and that's crazy. And like, it did win me a game. I got drolled one game, and my only real play was do that exact play. I had like Shade, and I searched a Fenrir as my one search of the turn, pended the Fenrir, made absolute, linked into I think SP, and then summoned the Vortex, and that was enough to get me there with I think some amount of non-engine. Was not bad, but this card going second was terrible. This card was so bad. This is another thing where I built the deck way too much tailored to going first and not enough to going second. This card was not good enough going second. This card is not good enough to play, unfortunately. The Bestials was kind of the same issue, but it was more just that these cards just aren't impactful enough right now. They just aren't strong enough. That's really as far as it goes. These cards just didn't do enough. I thought they'd be better into more decks, and they just weren't. So I would definitely cut these for now. With what to replace them with. So I talked about the Dominus stuff, which I might do. I don't hate that idea, which would be the 3 Imperm, 3 Dominators, and 3 Spark. And I do think the format is better for those cards now, Spark especially. It is really solid into Rolad, in my opinion, since, especially in like Azamina Rolad, if they use any of the Azamina cards or like Magician Souls, it turns on Spark, and then sparking like one of the Link monsters seems absolutely insane, since it just fucks up their whole Link combo. Like, imagine a world where you spark the Firewall Dragon when they're about to summon Protect Code back. I mean, or not before, or it'd be before they use Protect Code. You just Firewall to like turn everything off. That seems insane. Or you just banish the Protect Code. Also seems crazy, right? Probably the Protect Code. The Protect Code might be a quick effect. Let me look it up. So that might not be doable, but you can just banish the Protect Code, which is crazy. Yeah, it is a quick effect. So you do have to do it before the Firewall hits the board, but that's fine. You just banish this instead. And that's like, that should shut them off of pretty much all the lines that they were going to do with that. Card crazy. Cards are very, very good. I but I'm not sure yet. If I don't do that, I'm not really not sure. I might main deck Pot of Sloth. I might try and pick up 2 more of these. I have 1 right now. But I might try and just main deck Pot of Sloth. I know it is a card that is only good going second, but to be fair, this deck has a lot of things that like it wouldn't mind discarding. You have like the Genoldo effect for discard. You have the non-finito line, which discards a spell trap, and you have Vidolia, which banishes a card from hand. So opening a dead card isn't the end of the world going first. I don't think it's too bad. This card also can be used going first as like an upstart goblin if your opponent does like a turn 0 play, so it's fine. I might main deck this because I think this card is unbelievable. The other option would be Fua, and I had a friend tell me that the correct thing to do was to main 3 Fua, or some amount of Perulia, some amount of Fualos, and I don't love that because I think if you're gonna main deck going second only cards, they do kind of need to be spell traps so that you can discard them for the non-finito, which gets them good value going first in some regard, because otherwise their value is very limited. I really don't think these cards are great if I main deck them. Plus, I think Fua is like really bad into a lot of decks right now. I don't really like the card in a Cool Tune. I don't really like the card into some other matchups. Cool Tune, it's not awful because you do force them into a half board. So I don't know. Maybe it's better than I think it is, but for now I'm gonna probably say no. But if I don't play the Dominus line, this is like a good option. Maybe it is like main 3 Fua, main 3 Pot of Sloth. I don't hate that. Or main the 3 Fua, 2 Perulia or something. You know, we'll see. I'll figure it out. But that's kind of where my head's at now. I'm gonna just throw this in here so the deck is like complete. Now on to the extra. So the biggest what if for this event for me was how were the Odd Eyes cards going to do? You can ignore absolute. This was only in here for Fenrir. Because we're cutting Fenrir, I'm cutting this card. You're never making the card otherwise. You'd have to use Non-Finito and Finmel, a card we are no longer playing. So not on the table, and it only came up once. So, and it was in regards to Fenrir. So no, we're not playing that card again. But the question is Override and Vortex, especially Override, because this is the newest card, right? It came out the day before the event, so I had a lot of people reading this card, and this card was phenomenal. This whole combo was really, really good. The thing I really like about it is one is that you get an extra draw off the Override. So unlike the old Vortex line, which admittedly did search you Ginoldo, this line I think just does more for you and does not require any bad cards in the main deck. Astrograph's not terrible by any means, but it's not like insane or anything. Override is like the Odd Eyes line now requires 0 bricks. It's also rough to play around if your opponent doesn't know about it, which a lot of my opponents did not know what I was up to when I would end on Override Dragon. They would, I imagine they thought I was doing it because they were like, oh, he's trying to beat like hand traps by leaving the card that negates something on his turn on the field. I imagine that was what they were thinking because they didn't know Vortex was like a card, I guess. So a lot of my opponents, when I went first, were like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good when they saw it was an Omni. The bounce effect didn't come up that much, but that's fine. I mean, it's nice to just have, right? And admittedly, if your opponent does know about Vortex, they will play around it. So it is good for you, I think, in a lot of regards. The Override draw, I really, really liked. There were also some game states where Override Pop was actually really important. I think there was a game where it was against Branded, actually. I think it was my round 5 against Branded. I had an unbelievable game 1. I had an unbelievable game 1 where my opponent did what I assume was the full Branded combo, and then like they drolled me, and I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna win this game? But I was able to do a lot more than I was probably supposed to. I think they let me get away with a lot in that turn, to be honest. But the big issue was I didn't know how I was going to get to Vidolium because the way I had to do my combo, I had to put my Vidolium into the scale. I think I had to add it back with Ginoldo as like my high scale. So I had no way to get Ginoldo into the extra deck so I could like summon Vidolium to cut him off of all his follow-up, right? Override gave me the way to pop the Vidolium. So I was able to go into Override, pop the Vidolium, and then get there. Really, oh wait, actually no, I wasn't because I got drolled. I actually made the Override and then realized, oh my god, I can't do it if I draw. I can't do it because I have to draw. So actually no, I remember it was Japredo that let me do it. But again, this card's still really good. I really do like this card. Going first, it is phenomenal. Making this card before you pen summon I think is also really good because it basically forces your opponent into interacting with you right there. There was a lot of games where, not even just interacting with you right there, but there were a lot of games where instead of making Beyond the Pendulum, if I just like had everything, I would just make Override like before I pen summon and then just get to pen summon 3 guys without ever making Beyond the Pendulum because I was like, I got everything I need. I can just insulate my combo really hard. If you didn't like hit me with anything now, Too late, buddy. It came up a lot, actually. That was a play I did a good few times. This card was really good. I'm very, very happy I played this line. I do kind of think this is the best way to play Power Patron moving forward. I think if you're looking for like the best end board setup, I think this is probably it. I post side, I think you could experiment with other things, but like I think main deck wise, this is probably the combo you are doing, is like ending on. I think you are playing this combo. I think this combo is so strong. It also lets you cut some things from the extra if you really wanted to. Drago's Tapelia, in theory, does not become necessary. I did not make this card a ton. I think I still would play this card because when it comes up, it is really good, and you do need it in order for the Fool line to function, but at least function the way you want it to. But this card came up a lot less because this is what you're doing going first with Non-Finito instead. And this is insane. Like, the Vortex line is crazy, and into decks right now that are, like, modern decks in general just play really well into the kite type of interaction Drago's Tapelia does. Vortex is insane in that it is not that. It's an Omni, and Omnis are pretty much always good. I don't think Omnis are ever going to be bad at it anytime soon anyway. So these were great. I was so happy I played these. Everything else in the extra I really like too. Beyond mandatory, of course. SP. Even though I'm not playing Purification, I would absolutely still play this card. You make this going second a lot, or going first if you just like need something to do with bodies or whatever. This card's unbelievable. You gotta play it. Dark was great. I'm really happy I put in Dark. The theory behind this was really good, and I'm really glad I played it. It admittedly didn't come up a ton, but when it comes up, it is crazy. Like, again, Bring Back the Caligo was unreal, and there were games where like there were good hits with this for sure. Like against Cool Team, Bring Back Zolin's in theory really good. Bring Back the Mitsu stuff's really good. I am glad I played this card. I think I am going to continue playing it. Going second, this card is just so strong. Exceed's great, of course. Access Code came up not that much, actually, but I think it's because most of the games where I went second, I didn't really get to play. So, that kind of is what it is. I think it did come up in a few games just to like pop stuff. So it wasn't awful. Does what it does, right? I still like Access Code. I think it is still a thing I'm going to keep playing in this deck. Varudros was great, of course. Dragus Tapelia did come up. There was one game where my opponent tried to crown my Varudros to stop it from negating. It was against Striker. They went like, I think it was crown my board, and then they chained linkage to their own crown, which was a mistake. I don't really know why they did that. And then they went, and they go Varudros negate, and then they chain Hornet Drones, or not Hornet Drones, Widow Anchor, target my Varudros, and I go, all right, chain Non-Finito, fuse off the Varudros, and I think it's Self to make Drago's Tapelia, and that helped me dodge the crown, and it made everything for them so much worse. I don't think they had a starter from there, and they just kind of lost. And then, of course, all these are mandatory. These are all standard. And then for the side deck, I've talked about the one-ups, of course, in here. Like, some of these are getting moved in here, and the Non-Finito Impact Awakening were great. The other non-engine stuff in here was all right. I didn't draw Sphere Mode in any of the matchups where I sided it in. Although, admittedly, I think I only sided it into Elf Note, and I didn't draw it the one game I went second into them. Or actually, I never went second into them post-side. So I didn't ever side this in. But I think this card's still really good. It's just I didn't draw it against the decks where it is good into, which is the Medius decks / the big combo decks of the format. I think you still really do need this card for the stupid combo decks. Like, I think this card is too good. Into like something like Rolad, or specifically as a Mina Rolad, the one that's doing all the stupid link combo stuff, I think this card is like mandatory. So you aren't having to play into like multiple negates, potentially like a spell canceller. This card just deals with it all. I think you gotta play either this or Lava Golem. Lancia was like the wild card for me. I was like, Invoked kind of scary because Aeon banished 3 guys out of my extra deck, or the 3 patrons out of my extra deck is like kind of a disaster. So Lanciaing them does just win me the game. There's also other decks it's good into. A lot of random rogue decks like Orchist, Phantom Knight, Shadal, stuff like that. It's also pretty good in a branded. I sided it into branded. Admittedly, I didn't draw this card much at all. I sided it in a decent amount into both branded players and the invoked player. I sided this in, and if I drew it into invoked, it would have been insane. If I drew it into branded, it probably would have been good. And I did draw it into branded one game, and when I used it, it was in response to a Gold Sark, which obviously would have been really strong. But my opponent had called by, so sometimes they just want it more, right? But in theory, this card was really good, and there were games I cited it in, which I think is good enough for me to probably keep it in the list unless I find something better to put in. But I liked this card. I thought it was solid. And then Droll and Lockbird. I mean, it's good. It's a good card. I cited it in the matchups where it's good. I don't. I actually it won me the game against Mitsu. I actually drew this card going first and going second into Mitsu post side, and it was insane. So definitely would keep this card in. Yeah, in the matchups where it's good. Oh boy, is it good. And then Fualos. I don't know if I ever drew Fua. I might have. I don't know. I actually don't remember if I drew this card. If I did, it was probably good. I really have no recollection. It's been a few days since the regional, so I'm a little I don't quite remember everything. I really wanted to record the day of the like night after the regional, but I was exhausted, so unfortunately I just didn't do it. So that sucks cuz I wish these games were a little fresher in my mind. In terms of what I would, I guess the other things is what I would put in the extra or the side if the Fuas like move out of here. Probably Pot of Sloth, right? I don't know. We'll see. I really don't know what I'm going to throw into the side. Probably not a going first card. It will probably. Well, it depends actually. If I play like this many going second cards on the side, yeah, I am going to need to throw more things for going first. So it really just depends on how the deck ends up looking. Whether I go for the Dominus line or I go for like these like draw spells. I guess you'd call Fua a draw spell. Um, and then for the extra, I'm really not sure what I'd replace from here. Maybe I'll just like put the second non-finito in to free up a slot in the side. That doesn't sound bad. I don't really know what else. Maybe I'll throw Quartet and Bloom in there, but I really don't think my list plays that well with Quartet and Bloom. Fallen and the Virtuous could fit in here, I guess, but I don't really like that card in this deck. Right now, just because it's a card that feels so specifically good going first and pretty weak going second. Although not awful, because sending a Synchro with it for this deck is pretty good. So I don't know. I'm very conflicted on what I want to do with the non-engine for this deck right now. So I will get back to you guys in the next either. I will also probably extend this to pretty much any bigger than a local sized event I go to. I think there is an OTS championship in like 2 weeks or something that I might go to. And if I do, I will do a report for that as well. Um, but this is kind of where my head's at. I think this, just looking at this now, if I fill out even with like 2 blanks in the extra and like 3 blanks in the side, this list looks way better than what I brought to the event. So I'm already feeling better about the deck. And I'm happy with the changes that I'm going to be making, at least in theory. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you got something out of this. Let me know if you guys want to see other like things you want me to talk about in terms of these regional reports. What you want me to expand upon in them, if anything. I just want to hear you guys' feedback on stuff. So let me know, and I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.